With 4 million sounds, what will you create? Take the free trial today.
Hey Jason, they're 64 Pixel in Brighton. This is our sort of virtual Superbooth at Home edition. We're talking to you from your what looks like your workshop, I think. Is that right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's a little bit of a pigsty here, but this is where I do all my making from. So lovely sunny day today. I just got trying to keep the sun out.
Excellent. Well, so what are we looking at? Well, I can see here we've got something called Noodlebox. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's right. So Noodlebox is a sequencer. This is something I've been working on for quite a while. And in fact, I did have an early version of it at Superbooth last year that some people may remember seeing. So what it basically is a 4-part step sequencer, 4 monophonic parts that can be kind of synced together, and they can be used to modulate each other, as I'll kind of show you in a bit. You can do sort of clever stuff like transposing one layer with another, overlaying notes from one layer with another, and so on. The idea is that it becomes a kind of a good canvas for sort of happy accidents in sequencing. So, I mean, the way I always like sequencing with things like the SQ-1, and I love the way that you never really know what you're going to get. Just twiddle the knobs, and yeah, it's not like working with the DAW. You just sort of, make it up as you go along.
Right. Hence the word Noodlebox, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, and serendipity sequencer. It's the
excellent
little subtitle there.
Well, that's a lovely big display you've got there. I mean, is that AMOLED or what's going on?
Right. So no, this is actually just standard LED matrix displays. There's actually 8 little 8x8 displays in there behind a bit of black acrylic. And so, yeah, I mean, I always discovered by accident how good a contrast ratio you get on it and how good it looks. So, I mean, it's a custom display that is part of the Noodlebox circuit board. So it's just made really from standard parts.
Oh, brilliant!
But,
nice bit.
It looks.
Nice bit of innovation. Okay, so let's take us through what are the features? What does it have to offer then?
Right. So you got 4 parts, which are sort of step sequenced in a kind of a grid format. So you can see here, I'm just putting in some random notes. Hopefully I'm not drowning myself out. So what we got along the bottom is a sort of time axis. We have these gate points, you can see, and then along the screen we've got the notes. So I can go back and I can move notes around. I can add and remove gates, and so on. So each part, so there are four different layers, 1, 2, 3, 4, which I can access sort of quickly using these buttons. Each layer is made up like this of there's actually 32 steps available across the screen, and as I'll show you in a bit, you've actually got 4 different pages of them as well, which you can use for different song parts in arrangements or for variations, or actually kind of string them together to make up to 128 steps in a pattern. So basically, let me if I just show you how easy it is to extend the pattern length. So I can just sort of change these loop points to make the pattern longer. I can also make very short looping patterns. So, for example, if I get it running again, so let me put some stuff in here. I could do very sort of short looping. So it becomes very easy to sort of, in a live kind of jamming situation, just to mess around with loop points and.
Oh, cool!
And also,
so do they have to be? Is it designed for? Do they have to be note outputs, or can they output just regular CV for modulation, that kind of thing?
Right. Yeah. So each layer's got a menu like this, a fairly short menu, and there are actually 3 different types that can be assigned to a layer. So default is pitch. We've also got modulation and offset, which is also a kind of modulation which is really designed for transposing other layers. So I'll come back to that in a bit. But so pitch layer, you can have it as a where are we? So you can have it as a chromatic scale. Sorry, as a kind of a scaled view. So basically, that each octave takes up 8 lines on the display, or you can have it as a chromatic layout where you got 12 lines per display, and you can also force things into scale. So you can have a kind of chromatic layout that's forced into a scale, which is useful when you're doing things like transposition, because you can then have one layer transposing another while staying within a scale, which always sounds kind of interesting.
And can you add transposition stuff from external inputs like a CV or a MIDI or anything like that to kind of to perform it that way?
You can with MIDI. It doesn't actually have any CV inputs, but it does have MIDI input. So you can actually take transposition. You can transpose from a keyboard. You can also record from a keyboard, actually. So you can record notes in, and they're obviously quantized to grid.
So it'll record real time as well as step time, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So so when you record from a keyboard, it's actually recording it. As you play, it's recording real time, but it's quantizing it into that step grid. So everything is always going to be playing in the step time. And also, I mean, what's really kind of interesting with that is if you play notes in, but you keep the gates the same, so the groove stays the same, and all the actual rhythm stays the same, but you can change the pitch over the top, and I find that I can noodle for hours with that.
And can you record, because you've got 4 lanes, is it possible to record polyphonically into it, record at 4, so up to 4?
At the moment, no. The firmware doesn't allow that. I mean, I guess there's no reason hardware-wise why that couldn't be implemented later, but at the moment it's really designed that those work as different monophonic lanes. Right,
got you.
But yeah, I mean, of course, you could, if you wanted to, you could sequence chords in it.
Oh, that's interesting idea. So, are there any other features you want to kind of show us through? Have you got a demo? What's the drill?
Yeah. So let me do a couple of things. I mean, so yeah. First of all, what I'll just show you is how you can use one layer to transpose another, for example. So if I go back to the first layer and I clear all the notes off it, and I'll just set the looping back to 16 steps. And then just create, I don't know, just something pretty simple. Can you hear it okay?
Yep.
So let's...
What are you driving, by the way?
Yeah, this is a Pittsburgh System 10.
Ah, okay.
So I like that because it's nice and small. This demo stuff. Right. So if we've got like a... Okay, so let's just get something in the low register there. So then if I go to the second layer, I can set that layer to be in a... so I'm just going to drop the pitch a bit. So I can do this mask mode, which means that the notes that I put into this layer will overlay the first layer.
Right.
So if I go back to the... So I'll put some notes in here. Let's make them sort of high. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the CV from the first layer to the second layer. So let's put that in there. So you can hear there's a sort of a mixture going on between the 2 layers there. So sorry, this isn't actually transposition. This is the other thing I was going to show you, which is the overlaying of one layer with another.
That's all right. Let's look at that then.
Yeah, so these 2 layers could run at different. They could be different lengths. They could run at different clock speeds.
I like the kind of click and drag thing that you can do when you're holding the button down, sort of to almost like paint notes in. That's kind of nifty, yeah.
Yeah, it does have a sort of a kind of Etch-a-Sketch quality to it.
Yeah.
But often this sort of this flow of taking one layer and then just masking certain points with another layer and putting them maybe on the different bar counts, I've found is quite a good way of just coming up with all sorts of random stuff you never would normally have.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me show you then transposition. So if we go back to that first layer, yeah, let's take this again to make it a bit more interesting. So go to the second layer now, clear that out again. So I'm going to make this into an offset layer. So what this an offset layer basically. Hang on a sec. Yeah, I know I've done. I just need to put this back to turning the mix off.
Okay.
Yeah, so in this mode, what we've got here is a kind of an offset which can be positive or negative, and is added onto the incoming CV from the other layer.
Right, so that's effectively transposing, right?
Yeah, and so this can then run at a different clock rate. So let me just get them in the same kind of register, so that will. Yeah, so I can change the clock rate on this layer to maybe quarters.
Okay, I see what's happening. Right. So then if you've got a sort of funky or a great line that you can then transpose it and move it around with ease there, I suppose, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I'm not sure this is such a good demo of it, but if you force it into scale, so if I can quantize this into a scale, in fact, let's go back to the first layer, maybe make that a bit shorter.
Okay.
Yeah, so when things are kind of forced into a scale, you kind of get, I suppose, a sort of more kind of chord progression type thing going on.
Yeah.
Because the intervals between the notes will be changing.
And I suppose what you could do is you could have a very slow clock running on the transposition layer, so you could have a very long kind of musical cycle just going around a simple sequence on the first layer or any of the other layers, I suppose, right?
Yeah, sure, yeah. So you can go right down to, well, at the moment it goes down to kind of a divider of 1, so every 4 beats would be 1 step.
Right, got you.
I guess.
I understand, yeah, that makes sense.
And you can do things with sort of like triplet time as well. Just get like weird stuff going on where notes are changing pitch halfway through and stuff.
Oh yeah, I see, yeah. Almost sort of like ratchety kind of vibe.
Yeah. So that's a kind of an offset layer, and so the other thing I showed was with mixing 2 layers together using kind of pitch layers. Yeah, something else I wanted to show was the modulation layer. So let me just make this slightly less annoying. So yeah, if I take let's take a patch cable and stick it into like the 3rd lane here, put that into the filter cutoff.
And that's sending naught, so...
Yeah, so turn up a bit so you can hear it. So that's now in this layer here, so I'm just going to make that into a modulation lane. So you can see by moving that around.
Yeah. Can you get it to... can you have it slewing or kind of like sliding between values? Because obviously that'll be stepped quite...
Yeah, you can, yeah. I mean, in a modulation layer, by default, when you put in like waypoints, it will interpolate them. So you can see it's put these slopes in.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and then I can also kind of slew that, so, which is what it's doing now.
Right, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, yeah.
But something else I can do is, because even though in this layer I've still got the gates available, which are not being used at the moment, but those gates are still being output on the gate socket for this layer. But also, something else I can use those gates for is on the slew. We can make it slew only at tie points, so only when gates are tied together. So like...
Oh, so you can almost have like a slide effect, yeah, just if you were using it for pitch as well, yeah.
So you should be able to hear there, it's only kind of doing the glide at the points where I've tied the notes together.
Yeah, I got you. Interesting.
Right, yes, I mean, so that's the sort of the basics of the 3 different types of the layers. Something else you can do with it is, so let me just go back to the first layer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get rid of the transposition by swapping the patch cable straight back to the first one. So
right, okay, yeah.
We're just getting the raw CV from layer A. But so I want to do some variations on this. So I've got, on each layer I've got 4 different pages available. So this is page A, But what I could do is copy this page into the other 4 layers. So by holding the page button, and then I can kind of copy from one layer into layers that follow. So I've copied layer 1 into all the other layers, so they're all the same at the moment. Sorry, the other pages. Then I can make some changes maybe.
Oh, so they're like sub-patterns, effectively, kind of.
Yeah, a bit like the sort of the A/B variations.
Yeah,
like
I
on
see.
a drum machine or something.
Yeah. I have to say, the display is fantastic. Really good work on the GUI there. That looks fantastic. It really does look good.
Oh, thanks. Yes, I mean, so I've got these 4 different variations now, and I can actually kind of sequence those now. So if I, for example, if I wanted to do, I don't know, 2 of the first 2, then 1 of the next 2. So basically like 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. I can do this. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. And that's now going to cycle through them.
Right, okay.
And this little indicator in the corner actually is telling you which one it's just starting to play. So you can kind of see it.
Excellent. It's amazing what you could do. How many pixels are there on there? It's amazing what you could do with with so few pixels.
It's 16 by 32. So yes.
I suppose really it should be 64 total, really, in keeping with your name, but I think it's a bit more than that. Isn't
Yeah, I
it?
know. Yeah, well, you actually get twice as many pixels for your money.
Excellent. So what's the status with production on this? I mean, where is it, and when will people be able to get it? I mean, obviously, manufacturer's a little bit sketchy at the moment, but assuming it all goes to plan, what's the story?
Well, I'm hoping for June or July time. I mean, it's a little bit hard to know exactly what's going to happen. Like you say, with the virus situation in terms of factories and stuff. But so at the moment, where I am with it, I'm doing a batch of 250 of them as an initial batch, and I've kind of bought all the components for it. So I've got all the the aluminium extrusions, the wooden sides, all the electronic components. So at the moment, the main thing is circuit boards and the actual fabrication of the actual assembly of the boards.
Right.
But everything else really is pretty much there. And,
Excellent.
The PCB factories seem to be working fine at the moment in China, and I'm using a contract manufacturer in Estonia to actually do the PCB assembly, and they're working fine at the moment.
Well, I mean, as we know, I mean it's all sort of in a constant state of flux. So what's your kind of price? What are you aiming to put this out at?
Right. I mean, so at the moment I do actually have an Indiegogo on it for the first 100 because I kind of basically needed some funds to actually pay for the PCB manufacturing. So I mean, I'm actually pretty good on that now. I think I've actually made enough to actually get that ordered. So I actually put the order in on the PCBs yesterday. The price will be is $375 US dollars at the moment. So that's the price on the Indiegogo fundraiser, and I would kind of imagine it might be that plus VAT. I haven't really totally got a final retail price on it, and my hope is that the Indiegogo price will be a kind of discount on the final retail price. So
yeah, I got you.
Thank people for kind of having faith in it. So. So I reckon we might be talking something like about £300 plus VAT.
Okay.
So
just one more question. Will it fit in a kind of standard Eurorack, or you've just got that on a desktop version, right? Presumably.
At the moment, I'm not planning a Eurorack version. I mean, I think it would be possible, but it'd be quite a big module. That's the only thing.
Okay. All right. I understand.
I understand.
But it's a desktop. It's a desktop unit at the moment. That's the. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's it's kind of aluminium extrusions, wood, and PCB material, sort of front and back. Yeah. So it's sort of quite solid. Weighs about half a kilo.
Excellent. Well, Jason, thank you so much for showing us that, and stay safe and well. And I hope the launch all goes well, and people will be most interested. Thanks for watching.
Brilliant. Thanks very much. Cheers, Nick.